Hi everyone, it's Bobby at the Paper Jungle. I am back with another completed design for Country Craft Creations design team. This is the Mintay paper called Golden Days. It is such a pretty collection. I made this folder intentionally for it to lay flat. Well, as I often do, I put too much in it and it's not quite so flat. It's got a little bit of a pooch over here. The magnet does hold it closed. Just one magnet in this whole project, but it turned out so pretty, and I love this double flap. And I just added a couple strips of the design paper just to add more interest to that top flap. So the back is very plain, and I did a lot of fussy cutting on this one. The bows, the cut apart, more flowers, pumpkin, the fox. It just had such pretty images. So it opens like this, and this flap goes down. And I didn't put anything on this paper, I just thought it was so pretty. And then you can add photos or journaling here. I have a little belly band that I fussy cut, and I have a couple of cut aparts in there. And then it opens to both sides. This side we have a pocket with 2 tags. This paper, you just can't go wrong with it. It's so pretty. So there's your tags. This little flap opens out. Just has the design paper, and you could put a photo here or journaling, whatever you might wish. Then on this side we have double photo mats, and I just secured it with a piece of baker's twine. It opens out this way and this way. Don't you just love that strip there? I think that's so pretty. You can tell this is my favorite paper of the collection. I just love that cork paper. And then this little barn door opens out, and we have a pocket here with a photo mat. Another one of the cut aparts. And then in this pocket, I took the design paper and cut out a complete design, and then I put it on the Artisan Kraft and cut around it again just to make that huge pocket. And then I have a tag. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And 2 photo mats. So there's room for more in here. I am going to remake this project because it's my own fault that it got so thick. But sometimes I just don't know when to stop. I just get carried away and I get to add more than I should. So I am going to remake this using one of Tammy's Christmas papers, and I will change the gusset size so this is more flush on both sides. But all in all, I really love it. I love this double flap in the cover. I think it's so pretty. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. It will follow right now. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi everyone, it's Bobby. I am back with another project to start. This time I am using Golden Days by Mintay, and I am making a double flap wallet type folio. Sounds confusing, but really it's not. I have started on the base of the back of the folio just to show you how I'm putting it all together. This one is completely different than anything else I've ever done a tutorial on. This back piece is excuse me, 6.5 by 8.5, and it is a lightweight chipboard, and I have covered both sides using score tape sheets from Country Craft Creations and the craft colored Artisan cardstock. So I've covered both sides and inked it. I took it right to the edge. I did not wrap it, but you can see it's one uniform color all the way around. And I didn't want the extra bulk, is why I'm doing it this way. I want it to look like an envelope, but yet have more stability than what your normal envelope would have, because they're usually pretty thin. So I had 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11 medium or lightweight chipboard, and I cut all 3 pieces down to 6.5 by 8.5. So the first piece will be your back, and everything will build off of that. This is the front piece, which is 6.5 by 7, and I have score tape on one side, and I will cover this, and then I'll show you how it's going to attach. I'm going to leave an extra section on one end so that I can attach it down here and close it this way. We have two. When you get done cutting these pieces, you'll have 3 pieces left that are excuse me, 8.5 by 4.5, and you're going to cut 2 of those off at 8, and these will be your side panels. And then the top is going to look like this with a double flap. I think it's going to be really, really pretty. Something completely different. But I'm going to put my cardstock on the back of each of these pieces, and then I'll come back and we'll do put them all together, and I'll show you how I'm going to attach all the pieces. You will have then one more piece left that is 8.5 by 4.5, and I cut it to 6.5 the width, so that I can, when I add this piece to the top, I can cut a small piece for a gusset, but I'm not sure how deep I want it to be just yet. So I laid that aside for that purpose. So let me get some cardstock on these, and I'll come back and show you how we're going to attach them all together. Okay everyone, I am back, and I want to share with you what I have done so far. I want to make sure that you are clear on the process. Should you want to make one like this, I want to make sure that you understand what I have done. I don't want there to be any confusion. So I'm not sure if I made it clear enough in the beginning when I told you what my game plan was, but this is what I did. And so I had 3 pieces of lightweight chipboard that are 8.5 by 11. I turned them sideways, and I cut all 3 pieces at 6.5, and I'll cut one just to show you what I did. I don't need to cut them all again because I don't need to remake this project, but I can use these pieces in something else. I just want to show you so you understand. So each of the 3 pieces will be cut at 6.5. Then you'll have 4.5 by 8.5 left. There'll be 3 pieces of that left, and we're going to save those because we will use those. Now this first piece will become the base back piece, and I have that right here, and I have attached score tape to both sides of it, and then attached my craft colored artisan cardstock, and I've inked around all the edges. So this is the base of the back. That is your first 6.5 by 8.5. Then on the second piece you will cut this down to 7. That is going to be your front flap, and that one is this. Is it? Yes, when you cut it down it's going to be 7. And I did the same thing, score tape on both sides. I added the artisan to the one side, got it all sealed down, then I turned it over and add artisan to the back, but this time I left an inch, 1.5 inches. Let me see how much I left on that one. 1.5 inches overhang, and I scored it at 3/8 of an inch. I scored against the chipboard and then out at 3/8 of an inch, so that when you attach this, to show you, it'll fold like this, and this will wrap around the back of the back piece like that, and that will make your front flap. Okay, so that is from your second piece. From your third piece you're going to cut at 4 and 3. This one is 4 inches deep, this one is 3 inches deep. Alright, then we're going to take these 2 and we're going to measure at the center is 3 1/4. This is 6.5, so your center is 3 1/4, and you'll make a tick mark there. And then on the 3-inch piece you will come down 1 inch from the top. 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Make yourself a mark and then cut from this point to this point, this point to this point. On this one I left a 1/2 inch because it is just going to sit on top of this one. Like that, to make your double flap. Okay, on the 4-inch piece, you're going to come down 2 inches. So we'll measure down 2 inches on each side and cut to your 3 1/4 point, giving you the second flap. And on this one, the overhang I left is 1 1/4 inches. And I scored against the chipboard and then a 1/2 inch out. So that gives me this little gusset. And this one will sit right on top of it. And the 4-inch will attach to the back of your base, like that. And this one will sit on top. That's going to be your envelope style, your double flap envelope style. Now the 4-inch pieces that you had left at the side, we have 3 of those, and I'm going to use 2. These are going to be your side flaps. So they are both wrapped the same way. And on each of these I left 1 inch overhang so that when you wrap them, let me move these out of the way. You have, now I cut these down to 8 instead of 8 1/2. And then they will sit right inside like that. And you will have 2 flaps. And they will sit like that. Then you'll have this piece at the bottom and these 2 at the top. That is going to make your envelope. And it is still fairly slim. So I just wanted to make sure you had a complete understanding of what I cut, how I scored it, so that if you decide you want to make one, then you have all the pertinent information that you need to put it together. Now I'm going to attach all of these pieces together using art glitter glue, and then I'll be back and I'll show you. There will be a couple more additions to the inside of this section here, and I will give you the measurements on that here shortly. But I do want to get all of these attached and set up so that you can see what it needs to look like. Alright, I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, I'm back. I have put all of the pieces together on the base like I showed you. So when you have them all put together, it looks like this. You have 1 flap, a second flap, and the bottom opens down, and you have your 2 side panels like that. Isn't that cute? I really like that. So what I'm going to do is start adding some pieces to the inside. And the first thing I have, these are all on your cut list. The first thing I have is a 6x8 panel, I think. Let me double check and make sure. Yep, 6x8, and then I've scored it at 1/2 inch, tapered the edges. I've inked everything. I added paper to the front and to the back, and this is just a pocket here. And I'm going to add this just to the inside here, and I want it to pretty much match up with this side flap. So I'm going to add that with some art glitter glue. Make sure I get it down. Where is my little burnishing tool? There it is. I knew I just had it. I won't be needing that. So I'm going to line it up with that side panel. Put it right close to the edge without going over. Scoot it down just a hair. That looks pretty good. So we'll burnish that into place. These papers are so pretty. And the second thing I have is the back piece for this. And I have, what I did was, excuse me, dry throat there. This is the back side of this. So I cut a piece for the top. And then I cut this out, a fussy cut around it. And then I added it to a piece of the kraft. And what I did was, after I had it fussy cut, I took a full sheet of the 12 by 12 and I scored a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. Then I glued this into place. And I went back and cut around it again with the kraft under it. And then I cut an extra 1/2 inch and scored it. So I have a little pocket type here that's going to give me some space underneath so that I'll have room to tuck things in it. Isn't that pretty? I really like that. So let's add this on here, and I've already got it inked. I used the Archival Ink Coffee. I have received so many really nice messages from the gift I shared that I got from Cindy Brown yesterday. I shared it. I have gotten such nice messages from people. And I really do appreciate the kindness that everybody shares. It's amazing that the friendships you make, people you've never even met, you don't know from Adam, and they're just so kind and giving and sharing. It's just amazing. Let's scoot this over just a hair. There we go. And then I'm going to add glue to each one of these flaps. Before I do that, this kind of wants to curl up. I kind of want to train it to stay down. We have so much humidity here. Sometimes it makes my paper want to curl a little bit. So now I've tapered these two top edges and then cut the corners off here so that we don't have that extra bulk in there like we always do on a pocket. That was just the nicest gift that I got yesterday. And, you know, I've talked to Tammy recently because I've had several people, well, I don't know how many several is. It's been a few have asked me if there's a way they could support my channel. And occasionally I'll do a D-stash or something of supplies or maybe some of my completed albums. And I appreciate it anytime someone purchases something, but I don't do that very often. But I looked into that buy me a coffee like so many craft people do. And I checked with Tammy first because I wanted to make sure that anything wouldn't conflict with her in the design team agreement that we all make. And she said it would be fine for me to do that. But I did set up a coffee page several months ago, but I never mentioned it because I felt like it was kind of asking for donations. Like I was soliciting, and I don't mean to do that at all. I really do not. I'm going to put just a tad of glue up here at the top so that that doesn't wing out. But I will add, in the description box, I'll put a link to that if that's something you want to do, but don't feel like you have to at all. is just for people who have asked me if there's a way that they could support my channel. Then I'll put that in there, but I in no way want anybody to feel like they have to do anything to help support what I'm doing here, because this is all of my own free will and accord because I love to do it. Okay, so the next thing I have is a flap for the bottom, and this one is, well, I've got them on your cut list, but I think it's 6.5 by 6.5. Yes, 6.5 by 6.5, and it's scored at 1/2 here. And I'm going to add it right below here. And I did go ahead and add some of my papers just to save time. And when I get to the embellishing, I'll probably do that off camera, which I normally do that off camera. Excuse me. Takes me a while to decide what I actually want to do. I'll try things back and forth until I finally decide what is eye-pleasing to me. So there's that. We'll burnish this down real good. And then I have this cork paper. That is one of my favorites in this collection. I just love this. That looks like the cork. And that is going to go in here. And I need to take just a smidge off of that. It's just a hair too long. And let me do that real quick. Just a very little bit. Get some more ink on it. Coffee ink pad's getting dry. Next time I place an order with Tammy, I need to get another one. I use it a lot. Sometimes I think I like vintage photo, but sometimes with some papers it's just, I don't know, it seems to be pretty orangey. And this coffee doesn't have that quality at all. So I really like it. I love a lot of the archival colors. Now we're going to put this right in here. And then I cut a little band, and this is off of one of the design papers. Along the bottom edge of one, there was a wagon wheel here, and then all of this stuff, and I just scored a 1/2 inch on each side, and I'm going to put it down towards the bottom. I did not score a 1/2 inch down here. I'm just going to put a real tiny amount of glue down there, and I do want to taper these edges here. Forgot that. So let's get some glue on here. I'm just going to put a tiny little bead of glue along the bottom so whatever I put in there doesn't fall through. But I didn't want any extra bulk there because of the way this one closes up. And I'm going to put it up about a 1/2 inch or so from the bottom, like that. These papers gorgeous. I love them. They're so pretty. Okay. So there's that. And this closes in. And this goes up. These will go in first. Isn't that going to be pretty? All those beautiful colors together. This one will actually close in, then this one. I have to train it. It's going to get a little bulky. This one closes up and this one comes down. Now you can use a magnet if you want to. I think what I'm going to do is just tie some seam binding around it for a closure. But that'll be pretty much your thickness throughout. A little bit more ink on there, I think. Okay, for the side panels, I have, oh, I did cut one piece for that. Just going to go up there. Let me see. Here's what I have for this side. For the right hand side, I have this plaid, and I also have the same plaid for the opposite side. This side is going to have a double flap. Like that will sit here. And then this side will have a pocket and a flap. So I'm going to add those off camera and then I'll be back and we'll go from there. Okay, I'll see you shortly. Okay guys, I am back and I have finished putting this project together, but I wanted to share with you and explain to you what I have done. This is the cover. I love this layout. And this is just a couple little scraps that I had in my stash, and I just thought it would be neat crisscrossed up here, just to add a little extra texture and interest. I did end up gluing this one to this one. It was just going to be too flippy floppy, and in order to make it close right, I would have had to use a second set of magnets, which I didn't want to do that. So I did use one magnet here. It's in here and here. And I've just used to cut apart with some of the ephemera that I cut out, some fussy cutting. I wanted to show you, I did make some flowers using my small rose die. I had intended to put them on here, and then I decided not to, and I still can add them if I think I need to. I think they're very pretty. I used the papers from the collection for these flowers, and what I originally made was some using foam, which is the Heartfelt Creations foam, and this is the clematis die and stamp that I received in that gift package last week. And here's the leaves that came out of that. They're kind of pale and they didn't really show up very well. So whether or not I add any flowers, I don't know, but at the moment this is what I have. So let me lay these aside. You will see that it's not as flat as I intended it to be. It's really got some pooch over here. And you can put a ribbon around it if you want to. Let me move this out of the way. I use that for weight. So it opens this way. And then I just have two cut aparts below this band here. This is your other flap. And I didn't add anything to this or to these. I left them for photo mats. And then on this side I used a piece of baker's twine, and I left these for photos or journaling. Got a large area here. I really like that treatment there. You see, does that show up on the... Let me move it over just a little bit so you can see. Make sure that you can see it. I really like that. Does that show up now? Yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure you could see it. And then we just tie this back. It always ties easier when you're not on camera. I'll catch it later. And then this one opens out. And then we have a pocket here with two tags. And they're just plain simple tags for journaling or photo mats. little flap just opens out, and you can put a photo here if you wanted to, or put a date, whatever, and that is fixed. This is my culprit that made it so protrude so much, because see, that won't lay down flat like I intended it to. That's my fault. I just didn't make large enough gussets. And then on this side we have this pocket with a photo mat, and there's plenty of room in there for more, but I didn't add any more simply because I've already got it so fat. That wasn't my intention. And then in this pocket we have this tag and 2 photo mats. I did a lot of fussy cutting on this one, but I don't mind fussy cutting. I kind of enjoy it myself. So this closes that way, this way, this way, this way, and one magnet. And it does hold it closed, but it's quite chunky, and the back is just very plain. So I am going to remake this and change the gusset sizes, and I think I love this particular project. I think it turned out so pretty, and the papers are just gorgeous. But I would rather have it flush on both sides. That would be my personal preference. But I just wanted to share this with you. This is the Mintay Golden Days paper, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. So I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial. I'll do a walkthrough of it, and then I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.